Yair Davidiy's scholarly work stands as testimony to a common heritage and bloodline that so many people share unbeknownst to themselves. And Yair Davidiy, I agree with you, he's a pioneer, is a first-class historian and has produced astounding works, astounding books. He is writing in the spirit of the Gaon Eliyahu of Vilna, who sent emissaries looking for our lost tribe. But Steve, you said that all Orthodox Jews know about the 10 tribes. They just don't know that it's happening now. That's the difference. We pray in our service for the return of Judah and Israel and Judah. So we all know. And why is the state of Israel named the state? One of the reasons, we shouldn't forget that the lost tribes, we're aware of the 12 tribes. We're aware that they're supposed to wake up and come, but they're not aware that there's already people in the field connecting with them. And they're not aware of you guys, you heroes, each one of you was like Abraham and Sarah of old. You're stepping aside and out of the sewers of immorality and paganism and indoctrination. It's like, I'm so awed. I'm so humbled to be in your presence of you folk. Each one of you is like Abraham and Sarah of old. It's incredible. I like to say that in Parshas Maseh, it's the last parsha in the book of Numbers. The book of Bamidbar began on Rosh Chodesh Iyar of the second year, the year after the Exodus, and it ends with the end of the journeys of 40 years. So altogether, it was like 42 stops we made in the wilderness. And I felt that's very relevant to all of you guys. And because the nation of Israel has made their sojourn in the desert for far too long. We have suffered too degradation of exile, especially Judah. And nowadays, you guys are going to start suffering. As you identify with your Ephraimite identity, people are going to become your enemies that never thought you, they always thought you were loyal citizens to their belief systems. But we have suffered degradation of exile. We were out of place, wandering as foreigners and outsiders, persecuted, dispersed among the nations who often sought to destroy us. So we have also experienced a very different manifestation of exile, one in which we are welcome to enjoy emancipation and to a seat at the table, living comfortably from the flesh pots of Babylon, from the flesh pots of the diaspora. So the self-aware Judah, knowledgeable of history and sensitive to the spiritual reality of life, understand the futility of trying to set down roots permanently outside there, out of Israel. But Ephraimites, you guys had no reason to become Abraham and Isaac. It's like you said, Steve, there's a calling that you have to go beyond nature, beyond any rational mode. You're not being persecuted. No, you don't have to change anything. You're in a total comfort zone. Each of you are successful people in your lives. So you deserve all the credit in the world for being willing to stand up and stand out. Yes, John.
Could I just say something? Nice to meet you, Rabbi Feld. I listened to one of your videos not that long ago, and you were talking about the formation of the state of Israel, and how at one point they were talking about calling it Judea rather than Israel. Could you expand a little bit on that?
Well, you guys, you and Yair, the ones that carried the ball and went to do more. All I could say is that Ben-Gurion said, God forbid we should forget about the return of the tribes. That's the positive thing. You don't want me to go into the negative thing. He had an affinity towards the 10 tribes because they were like less religious. They were like more involved in the delights of this world and some confusion, mixing Judaism. So that's exactly where he felt too. Socialism, communism, atheism mixed with Judaism. That's like a northern Israel kind of thing. So that there's like that undercurrent there. But on the positive side, that Judah is not going to forget Israel. And that's beautiful. And that's what we need to wake up to.
Okay.
I think it would be helpful. Because I've been brought up in a different tradition, a Christian tradition, we're not aware, maybe perhaps other people feel the same way in the group, but we're not aware of many of the principles, the practices of within Judaism. And I think one of the problems is we miss things because of that. You guys have got something we haven't. The Judah means praise, and there's a lot of stuff about the tribe of Judah that we don't have because I'm speaking for myself here. I'm probably an Ephraimite. Thornton's a Saxon name, although I'm not quite sure. But we don't have some of that information that you have.
Well, one of the informations, you walk in any synagogue across the world, from China to Toronto, from Melbourne, and what do you see as one of our favorite artistic renditions in glass stained windows and decorating all of our Judaica, the 12 tribes. At every Sabbath table, at every little synagogue, at every big yeshiva, houses of studies, we're surrounded by the imagery and from an artistic view of our tribes. And we have many verses we sing that connect to the tribes. But a Scottish man is very close to the essence of Torah, just in your essence of being a Scotsman. You have a lot of God's fire and fury and a lot of God's courage and humor.
We have this, just on a side, we have the Declaration of Arbroath, which was an ancient document around about 1320, which describes where the Scots came from. Now, we also have nationalists in Scotland who are trying to break away from the UK, and they claim this is the birth certificate of the Scottish nation. It's not. But the problem is most of them don't read what's actually in the Declaration of Arbroath, which actually in the first few verses describes how the Scots came from Greater Scythia via Egypt and Spain. Doesn't mention Ireland, but we were in Ireland anyway. So all that stuff is in there and has been in there for something like 700 years, and most folk just miss it.
I just wanted to put in something on my own to this point, which you may well already know. The Jews pray 3 times a day, and one of the most important prayers is the Shaharit, is a prayer in the morning, and just before they say the most important prayer of them all, which all the rest of the prayer service is centered around, of the 18 benedictions of 18 blessings, they add in a call to God Almighty, calling him Rock of Israel. Come to the help of Israel and redeem, as you have said, Yehuda and Israel. And the commentators say that the intention here, Yehuda and Israel, applies to Judah, that is the present-day Jews, and the 10 tribes. Now, notice, at least not all the commentators, one of the major commentators, Eitz Chaim, says that, and it is well known, though maybe not everyone is aware of it, but it's there. It's there in the prayer book, and it's said, and this is what the intention is said to be. So that's worth noting.
Okay. Yeah, and we have tunes to this too. Sur Yisrael, Kumo B'Yezras Yisrael, Ufdei Kumecha Yehuda B'Yisrael, Go Aleinu Ad Hashem Savot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael. Just on back what I was saying about our 42 stops in the wilderness is psychologists.
If you want to buy the clip, you just get in touch with me, Brit-Am.
Right. Anyone who blesses Yair is assured of a portion in the world to come. And don't worry, whatever you have, whether you go up or down, we'll forward it to you in the next world. But psychologists discuss the concept of developmental tasks. Each stage of life has its own developmental task. And most people might find it boring, the These are the marches of the Israelites who started out from the land of Egypt. Their marches by starting points were as follow. They set out from Ramses. So we see deep meanings in each one of these stopping points. And I'm saying that all of you guys, every human being in his private life has this similar 42 journeys they're taking with deep meaning attached to it. There's a poem from a fellow named Jared Lockton, but I changed one or two words, about this wandering that we were all doing. All of us have been wandering. We had, in Judah, you mentioned Genesis several times. Genesis 49 says Judah is the lawgiver. So we had the law to keep us company. And you guys had to break out of all these man-made prisons. But it's a cute little poem. I envy those who live in two places, Jerusalem and anywhere else. There is always the anticipation of change, the chance that what is wrong is a result of where you are. I have always loved both the freshness of arriving and the relief of leaving. With two homes, every move would be a homecoming. I am not even considering the weather, hot or cold, dry or wet. I'm talking about hope. So it's no secret that we all have our stops and our passages in life. We all have different stages in life, and you guys are marching forward the Light Brigade towards the end of the rainbow, which is a reunification with Judah and God's Torah. So we really deeply appreciate you all, and we pray for your wealth and your health and your continued scholarship. You're amazing human beings and amazing souls. You're each one a giant of mind and soul.